can't really remember if he's shit or not. Is he a figment of our imagination? But he just isn't. He's not very good. Right, hello everybody, welcome back to the Golden Sky. I'm Tom, and we are officially back in action with Liverpool pre-season content. Back with the videos. It has been a while, a lot has changed. We've got a whole new setup going on. It isn't finished, so just bear with me on that, but it's getting there, Back in action with some pre-season stuff for the new season. Got a fun video today for you all, but before we get into that, few little bits and pieces to address for the start of today's video. First one, a huge one. Last night, we officially, following the crazy World Cup final live stream, which did so well. Thank you so much to everyone who joined me on those watch-alongs. But officially, we hit 500 subscribers on the channel, which is just insane. Thank you so much to everybody who has watched the channel over the course of the year that I've been doing this now. Subscribed, liked, commented, anything that you've done to support the channel. I really do appreciate it. 500 subscribers is insane. It really is. And I should do some sort of 500 subscriber special. So if you've got any ideas, leave them in the comments below and I will do something. And no, I'm not dyeing my hair again. We've already done that once. And that wasn't even for anything special. So we're not doing that again at the minute. But anything else, leave it in the comments below what you want to see. So that's pretty crazy, to be honest, that's what we've managed to hit. We are also in a new house. If you haven't seen any of the moving in content or watched any of my videos before, this is not the current setup that people got used to. Well, it is the current setup. It's not the setup people got used to. I hope you all like it. We're in the daytime for a change. We don't usually make videos in the daylight, but here we are. We've got Anfield there, a little model. We've got the Lego World Cup. We've got the famous football, of course, from last year. But we're going to get some photos on the wall. It's going to look much better soon. Just bear with me, guys. But today, pretty casual video just to ease us back into the swing of things in pre-season here. We're going to go through Liverpool's entire squad on a bit of a tier list and do a sort of a keep, sell, loan, and a bit of a last chance sort of ranking of all the players. We've got some youngsters in there, but mostly just the first team. And we're going to go through those, and I'll use this to talk about each player and my kind of thoughts on them for the upcoming season and what I kind of expect or want or anything like that. This might be a bit of a longer video than the usual preview, rating, tactical analysis videos, but lots to get into. Buzzing to be back making Liverpool content. I hope you're buzzing to be watching it again on the channel. Drop a like, obviously, if you are. And let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into the tier lists. Let's get over to that screen right now. Okay, guys, so this is the tier list. I have put this together myself, so it's a little bit haphazard maybe, but I've got all the lads in here that I think need some sort of talking point said about them. So for the benefit of the podcast listener, I'll tell you the tiers. We have got keep, we have got loan, we have got last chance saloon. That's if I think this year or this first part of the season is really the player's last chance for us. And then sell if they've got no chances left and we just need to get rid of them, maybe for one reason or another. So we're going to go through all the players. We're going to start with the goalkeepers and we're going to make our way to the strikers just like normal. But yes, this is the video today, so I hope you all enjoy. Let's start with Alisson Becker, Liverpool's number one. He has 1 year left on his deal, Alisson. This likely will be his last year at Liverpool, which is a massive shame. What a player he's been. I think it's 8 years to the day or something like that he actually signed for us. He's an absolute legend at Liverpool. He's won everything there is to win at Liverpool, and he's been a massive part of that, obviously. Wonder if he will be given the vice captaincy. That still has not been announced at the time of making this video. It is a Monday right now, as you can see. So that has not been announced. They are flying to the preseason tour today, so I don't know if that will be announced soon. Alisson is definitely a candidate, I think, for that mantle. But I think for me, this is an easy one to start with. Alisson is clearly a keep. And not just because he's a keeper, but he is a keep for me. And there will be people who maybe say maybe we should try and cash in on Alisson, given that it's his he's got 1 year left. Maybe we should, try and get some money for him. I don't really agree with that. I don't think he's going to be worth all that much. Goalkeepers tend to not be worth so much anyway. I think the quality that he gives us is pretty crucial and worth more than the money that we might get from a transfer for him. So for me, it's a keep for Alisson, especially because the next player on the list hasn't necessarily convinced that they are going to be the one to take over from Alisson. So let's move on to Georgi Mamardashvili, Georgi Marmalade Village, as we got to know him last season. Had his first year with us last year, played quite a bit when Alisson's legs fell off. The meat melted off his thighs, as it usually does. Mamardashvili played quite a bit, and he was a bit up and down, wasn't he? I think he was a bit like, some moments were okay, some not so okay. I think his shot stopping was excellent most of the time. There were a few that were maybe he could have done better on. I think he came under a little bit of criticism for that, but his distribution certainly wasn't the greatest, and that's something that we knew with Mamardashvili coming in, and that he needs to work on, I think. This year he's going to get lots more chances this year. I'm sure he'll play in the cups. I'm sure Alisson's meat will fall off his bones once again if he goes too close to a barbecue or takes too many goal kicks. So I think Mamardashvili has a big year coming up, and I'm a bit torn with him whether to put him in the keep section or the last chance section. I don't feel like this is his last chance. Like, I feel like even if he has a bad season, he's going to be kept hold of and given a chance when Alisson leaves, which will almost definitely be after this season. So for me, that means he has to go into keep. I've got no interest in dropping him out on loan again, or certainly selling him. I think he's a good goalkeeper. I think he deserves another chance, another year of playing like he did last year, and see if he can improve under Raiola, maybe improve his distribution, and maybe just become a bit more used to being a Liverpool goalkeeper. It's very different to being a Valencia goalkeeper. So I think I'll keep Mamardashvili as well, but those of you who might disagree, please let me know in the comments. Then we have right said Freddie Woodman. Played like one game last season, 1.5 games, got lobbed by Victor Munoz when he was down injured after having a worldy game. Third choice goalie, I think this one's an obvious keep for Freddie Woodman. We will be putting him in there. Let's pop him in right now. It's an obvious keep, so all three goalies are going to stay. I think I'm happy with the goalkeeper situation at Liverpool right now. Woodman seems like a great character in the dressing room, and to be honest, that's pretty much all you want from your backup, your third choice goalie, to be honest. I think of Adrian San Miguel, Big Adri, who was with us for ages. Everyone just loved him, apparently, and that's why he stayed for like 5 or 6 years, despite him being absolutely shite in goal. I think Woodman deserves to stay as well, and I think he will stay, to be honest. No reason why he wouldn't. He's homegrown. He seems like a great character, and he seems pretty decent as well when he did have to fill in that super rare occasion last year. It's exactly what you want from the third choice keeper, so no reason why Woodman wouldn't be a keep for me. That's where he goes. Okay, Joe Gomez is next on the list, and this is a really interesting one. Joe Gomez, our longest serving player, obviously, as we know, and very, very injury prone, as we also know. The most injury prone player maybe we've ever had at Liverpool. Daniel Sturridge gives him a run for his money. Alberto Aquilani also gives him a run for his money. But Gomez has been with us now for 10 years and just never is able to stay fit, especially these days. I don't think he had a bad season last year, Gomez, to be honest. I think he was one of the few who maybe came out of the season without his stock falling for Liverpool, really. That said, though, I think he has 1 more year left on his deal. And he's going to be the first player I put into the last chance section of the board because I love Joe Gomez, right? Joe Swalmez, Joey Sideburns, Joe No Gomez. But listen, the reality of the situation is if he can't stay fit, there's no point having him. Yes, he's homegrown. Yes, he's our longest serving player. Yes, he's versatile. He can play all across the back four. But despite him being a good player, he just isn't available enough. And that's what we need more. Our squad is pretty thin at the minute. And we're going to need to beef that up even more. And whilst Gomez is a versatile option and quite a good player when he's fit as well, he's not reliable enough at all. You can play him, and after 10 minutes he can go off injured and you won't see him for months. And that's a problem. So 1 year left on his deal. I feel like a sensible thing might be keep Gomez this year. See how well he performs. See if he stays fit. If he does, maybe give him another deal. If not, let him go. And then the Kwanzaa buyback, I think, drops down in price. Maybe that's what you do. You replace the English Joe Gomez with the English Jarrell Kwanzaa on the buyback, or maybe somebody else who knows how Kwanzaa will get on this year at Leverkusen. But that's what I think you do. And Gomez goes in last chance as a result of that. Okay. Jacquet is next up. Jeremy Jacquet, new signing, obviously, Liverpool's newest defender. And he's not our newest signing anymore because of Vicky M, but he is a new player. We haven't seen him play a minute, so obviously he goes in the keep section. This one's pretty simple. Let's not waste any time. But I'm really excited to see him this year. I think he will start the season as first choice centre-back alongside Van Dijk. Whether we actually sign a centre-back from now until then, who might overtake him in the rankings, I'm not sure. I personally don't think we will. I think if we do sign a defender, and we will do a transfer video, by the way, guys. We will maybe do a Liverpool transfer video later this week, or if not, we'll certainly talk about the transfers as they unfold. We'll do that in a separate video of who I maybe want or where we want some recruitment in this summer. But Jacquet, for me, we spent a lot of money on him, about 50 million, which, to be honest, isn't that much these days when you see the prices of some players. Morgan Rogers, 117 million. Elliott Anderson, 130. The market is insane. And getting Jacquet, who's a young centre-back with loads of potential and a lot of suitors, I think it was a great sign and a great coup, and I'm really happy that we got him. Excited to see him. Excited to see the ball carrying. I compared him when we signed him. He reminds me a bit of Marcel Desailly and a bit of Joel Matip. He's just all legs. I think if you mix those two together and you get the best out of him, that's his real ceiling for me, a mixture of those two, because they were both top centre-backs, and he's got a long way to go before he gets to that sort of level. But he has those abilities. I'm excited to see his ball carrying. I think we missed that with Konate last season, who was a real problem at times and had a really poor World Cup as well. I don't think we're necessarily going to miss Konate if Jacquet can come in and perform at a really high level. So Jeremy Jacquet for me is an obvious keep. Really excited to see him. Big Jezza Jacquet that will go into the keep section. And then we have Superman himself, Giovanni Leoni, Clark Kent. Obviously coming back from his ACL injury. He played one game last season. He's 19. Played one game against Southampton and he was excellent in that game. And then he did his ACL. So disappointing first campaign for him, I'm sure, but I think he'll be available. I think we'll see him in pre-season. He's going to the America tour. He should be available towards the back end, still obviously completing his rehab. I'm sure the club are being very careful with him. They don't want to see him pick up another injury at such a young age. But this fella gets me excited. He gets me a little bit tingly, I've got to say. He is massive. He's a behemoth of a player, but he's so smooth on the ball, and he really has that like Italian like pedigree style defending, I feel like, already instilled in him. I think what we saw in that first game against Southampton, okay, it's very small sample size, but also at Parma before we signed him, is evidence of that, and that I think this fella is going to be a top player. And if we go into the future with a partnership of him and Jacquet for the next 10 years, that could be a really formidable partnership. It really could. There might be some people who think maybe sending him out on loan could be a good move this season, maybe to get some real game time. And I do maybe agree that would be a good move, but we are so short in the centre-back position. I mean, we've got Gomez, we've got Jacquet, and then we've obviously got Van Dijk and Leoni. They're the only four centre-backs we have available right now. So for me, he's a keep. As a backup, he'll get lots of time. Gomez is not reliable. Who knows how Jacquet will perform? Van Dijk's going to need rests. got loads and loads of games. He's going to get loads of game time, and I think it makes sense to keep him, let him develop, and hopefully he stays fit this season. And we have Superman and Steel Jacket. Is that a saying? What's the straight jacket? We've got Superman and Straight Jacket at the back. That's the better saying right there. You can tell we're back in pre-season form here. But that's another keep for me. So we started off well there. Lots of keeps, to be honest. Let's move on to some fullbacks. Connor Bradley is next up on the list, and we'll go with him. Now, this is a difficult one for me. This is a difficult one because my heart tells me to just keep Connor Bradley no matter what, but my head tells me this could be the last chance for Connor Bradley this season. And maybe that's too harsh, but hear me out on this. Connor Bradley has shown he has loads of potential and certainly has the ability to be a first-choice right-back for Liverpool in the Premier League. He's excellent going forward. He gets into really good attacking areas. He's got a good goal threat. I think he's got more of a goal threat than what we saw from Trent when he was obviously playing at Liverpool. Now, he's not at a level of Trent at all, especially what we saw from Trent at Liverpool over his career. But Bradley's biggest problem is the same as what Gomez's is staying fit. He just struggles to stay fit, full stop. Really bad injury against Arsenal last season, obviously, and who knows when he'll actually be back, whether he'll be back at the start of the season or not. For me, this is a big season for Connor Bradley, and so that means he has to go into last chance saloon. Because if he has another injury-riddled season, maybe a season of underperformance again, not quite reaching those expectations, I expect us to sign a right-back anyway this summer. And it might mean that Bradley gets relegated to backup right-back, and then if he doesn't fight for his place well enough, he might be moved on next summer. So I think this is the last chance for him to really cement himself as a player who can stay in this Liverpool team if we're going to be challenging for the biggest honours, if we're going to be challenging for titles, Champions Leagues. We need him to stay fit, we need him to kick on. So for me, it's last chance saloon for Connor Bradley. I believe in his potential, I believe in his ability, but I don't believe in his injury record. It's pretty horrendous, to be honest, and coming off another serious injury, will he be able to hit those heights as he did when he first broke through? I'm thinking of that goal against Chelsea. I'm not sure. Right. Jeremy Frimpong. Now, this one is an interesting one because I think we can all agree Frimpong's opening campaign was pretty disappointing, wasn't it? In a lot of ways. I don't really know still what we've signed Frimpong to be. I really don't. Now, he's homegrown, so maybe that's an opportunity, market opportunity, and he was quite cheap. So possibly we saw that and we thought, this is a good opportunity for us. He's versatile, but is he versatile in a way that we don't really know what his position actually is? I think more that after the first season. His position for me is a wing-back. He's a perfect wing-back, but the problem is we don't play with wing-backs, and Iraola won't play with wing-backs. We've seen he can get a lot out of his full-backs with Kerkez at Bournemouth, a player that is next up on the list. So if he's able to get Frimpong performing at a similar level to how Kerkez was in his last year at Bournemouth, bombing on down the flank, I think for me, Frimpong has to be a right-back if he's going to be successful at Liverpool. He's not a winger, especially not a winger at a top level. He's maybe a winger at a level where you can bring him off the bench for 20 minutes to rest a player. You can maybe put him there in the cup games, something like that. But he's certainly, for me, he's a fullback. And is his defensive nous good enough to play fullback? Can he stay fit as well? He had a lot of injuries last season too. Never had any injuries before he came to Liverpool. And last season, his hamstring fell off 3 times. Now, this could have been because Arne Slot was making the players do boxing or rugby or basketball, and then if they weren't doing that, they weren't training at all in training last season. Who knows? But the reality is, he had an injury-riddled campaign that didn't really impress. Now, for me, I'm not saying to sell him. I think that's too early, and I certainly wouldn't loan him out. It's between keep or last chance again for Frimpong. And if I'm looking at it, it might be last chance. Am I okay with saying that Frimpong, if he has another bad year, I'm ready to sell? I don't think so. So I'm going to say keep for Frimpong, but at a push. He's teetering around last chance for me. I'm going to say keep for now. Kerkez is an obvious keep. Let's not waste any time. Kerkez is clearly a keep. This absolute psycho that we've got at left back. He's a clear keep. Iraola working with someone that he knows there with Kerkez. That hopefully should lead to some real positive synergy for Liverpool, and maybe we can get Kerkez back to that best left back in the league form that we saw 2 years ago. Last season wasn't necessarily a bad year for Kerkez, but I think it was a down year for everybody across the whole squad. So want to see him get really back to that top level and cement himself as our left back for the future. I think that's an obvious one for me to keep. Look forward to seeing him this season under a manager that he's familiar with. So not really much else to say there. The Tasmanian Devil at left back. Let's keep him. Let's see him kick on this year. And then the captain to round out the centre backs here. Van Dijk. This is an obvious keep this year for me. Now, similar to Alisson, he is probably in his last year. So you might think, is this his last chance? I don't think he needs a chance. That's what I'm saying with Van Dijk. He's not really being assessed, is he? If he's going to go, it's because his contract's going to run out. I'm not going to give him one. I think this is a clear keep. If he has a good year, maybe we'll give him another year or so. But he could also leave. This could be the last year of Virgil van Dijk at Liverpool, which is an emotional thing to even say. So he's a keep for me. Captain, fantastic. Still a top centre-back. Yes, his legs are going a little bit. Yes, might not be able to play him every minute of the Premier League this season. Might see some Jacquet and Leoni or Jacquet and Gomez, perhaps. Who knows, honestly, at this point, guys. We do need another centre-back, I think. I think we need one more centre-back to give him a rest and not have to worry about who we're playing. I'm not sure I'd be confident about any combo of these three right now playing in a big game in the Premier League, of which they all are. Van Dijk is still very, very much the leader of that backline, leader of the team, so he has to be kept. Right, Tsimikas is back. Everyone remember him? The Greek Scouser? Wee Willie Winky? That's a joke for about 3 people who watch this video. Sleepy Floyd himself, Tsimikas. He was locked in Klopp's basement for a little while. Then he was let out of the basement. Then he was quite good. Then he was shite. And then Arne Slot shipped him off to Roma for a year. Now, he's back. He's got dreads now. He's not been pitched in the new kit, but he does have dreads. And I'm undecided with Tsimikas whether we should keep him for one more year or sell him. That's basically where I'm at with Tsimikas. I don't quite know. I can't really remember if he's shit or not. Let me put it like that. I can't quite remember. I think he's okay. But do I want us to sign another left back? Yes, I absolutely do want us to sign another left back. But will we? Is the question. Will we? I don't think we will. I think we've got too many holes in the squad to fill. We definitely need a right back. We might need a centre-back, and then let's move on to the rest of the team as we get to it. For me, Tsimikas is not going to be replaced this year. So, I think he's actually going to be our backup left-back to Kerkez. So I'm putting him in last chance saloon as well. I think this is his last chance, and then he will be sold, unless he really performs this season. He's still got age on his side. He's not too old. He's still got a bit of ability as a backup left-back. Would I be happy if, let's say Kerkez got injured, and then all of a sudden Tsimikas is starting games at left back? No, I wouldn't be happy about that at all. Think how many games Robbo played last season. But is Tsimikas worse than Robbo this year? I don't think so. So I think it's a last chance for Tsimikas, and I'm gonna be willing to keep him for this season. Then we've got a bit of a sad one though. We've got Wataru Endo, who I absolutely love and adore. This fella, I'd give my life for him. All right. Now look at him on his picture there. Pure passion, pure heart, as you come to expect. Disappointed he doesn't have the gum shields in. That's all I'll say. But he's giving it one of these already. He's ready to put his life on the line. And that's what he did the last time we saw him. He broke his ankle or whatever the hell he did. But he still played on and he won a header with a broken freaking ankle, right? And that, for me, is the perfect way for him to go out. Because Endo is my first sell of the tier list. Now, it might be a bit harsh. But for me, he has to go this summer. we need to start moving on from certain players, and I think Endo is one of them. He's been a great player at Liverpool, to be honest, and more than we all expected, I think, when we signed him for about, a bag of chips and a pack of Haribos when Schmatke was in charge of transfers for that summer, and we rebuilt the midfield. But he has to go. He's taken up a non-homegrown slot, which is important. He's coming off a bad injury. He's pushing past 30 now. He didn't really play at all last season. Yes, he might be useful, but I think with Iraola, the way he wants his players to be really good on the ball, pass the ball forwards, I'm not sure there's a role for Endo, particularly where he's going to play too much. So for me, I would say sell him on, free up that homegrown slot. We're not going to get much money back, but just free up the wages, free up the homegrown position, and move on from him. What a great servant he's been, but that's a clear sell for me. Okay, Nyoni is back, is next up, in action here. Now, he's got a big preseason ahead of him. He's a keep or a loan, Nyoni, that's for sure. Very young, obviously didn't get much game time last season because of slots. Let's not ever play the youth mantra. Was he ready? Probably not. But for me, I think he should go out on loan. Look, he might really impress in preseason and he might look really good. And there might be people who then say, well, let's keep him, Let's keep him and play him in the cups. But I think the important thing for him is game time this season. It's all about game time for him. And I think a championship loan and the physicality of that league, getting the games under his belt, playing every week could be so beneficial for him, like it was for Harvey Elliott once upon a time. I think send him out on loan, get him some games, and that'll really benefit Nyoni, I think. We're going to see a lot of him in pre-season, so I'm excited to see that. He has a lot of qualities. He's good on the ball. Needs to really physically get himself up to gear, and I think a championship would be a great loan for him. I'm sure there'll be lots of clubs clamouring to get him on loan. Maybe Slot has plans to play him. I don't know. Sorry, not Slot. We're past Slot. Oh my God. I hope Slot doesn't have plans to play him. I hope Arne Slot's nowhere near this team anymore. Flipping hell. Loan for Nyoni. And let's do Alexis McAllister, who last night lost the World Cup final to Spain. He won't be a two-time World Cup winning player. But I think he had a good World Cup tournament. He covered the most ground of any player, I do believe. And he was absolutely gutted at the end. He didn't have the best final, but I think his performance in the World Cup overall was a good one. So for me, that was a good thing because his performance in the season was a bad one. A shocker of a season for Alexis McAllister in the actual season. And there'll be a lot of people here who want me to put him in sell and we'll get rid of him, we'll cash in. But for me, I think that's a little rash of a decision to be making, especially when we're a bit light overall as a squad. For me, he goes in last chance. This is a clear last chance. We will be able to use this season to assess whether Alexis McAllister's legs have actually fallen off. Can he hack the Premier League anymore? Or was last season just an outlier on account of him being made to cover grounds that are bigger than Anfield themselves at times on his own? He's not the fastest runner. He's not. He's barely even a runner. He's barely even an athlete at this point, but he's still got on the ball. He can cover ground, as the World Cup has shown us, just at his own pace. Now, is that pace good enough for the Premier League? We'll see. But this is what this season's about for him. I think it's a big season. Can he establish himself back at that top level of midfielder? Or is this too much for him? And I think that'll become clear pretty much straight away. But I think in that two number 8 role that he'd be playing in Iraola's system as the 2 in front of the defence, I think that could bring something out of him. I want to see him get on the ball. We saw Slot was making midfielders hide behind players all last season. We never were able to play out from the back. Iraola is going to encourage that, encourage vertical play, encourage forward passes. McAllister's good at that. Let's see if we can get him on the ball and focus on those attributes and not the deficiencies he's got off the ball that we saw so obviously last season. Last chance saloon from McAllister. Right. And then it's Steffi Bajcetic. Who remembers him? Remembers this fella? Is he even real? Is he a figment of our imagination? He's pitched in the new kit, so he is alive and well. Or is this AI? Who knows? It's not AI. This is a real photo of Stefan Bajcetic, who once upon a time looked like he was going to be the answer to all of our questions for a number 6, didn't he? He was 17, he broke through, and he was fucking ace, and then he got injured, 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 and it just went on, and on, and on, and on, and on, and we haven't seen him, basically, for the better part of about 3 years, I think, Bajcetic. He went out on loan, he did alright, not great. It's a difficult one. He could go anywhere on this list, depending on how you think of him. He's a very divisive player for me, Bajcetic. Lots of fans want to keep him, think he's still have faith in him. A lot of fans have completely given up. A lot of fans are somewhere in between, and that's sort of where I am with him. I'm somewhere in between. Now, a loan for me seems pointless. I think that's not where I'm going to put him. He went out on loan, and we saw it was fine, but it didn't really help us assess whether Bajcetic was a player that we could use at Liverpool or not. He actually went out on 2 loans. So, I really don't know. For me, he then has to end up, I think this is his last chance at Liverpool. He goes in last chance saloon, too many injuries, and is he even good? We don't really know, do we? He had a good spell, and that's pretty much it. I put him in last chance saloon. I want to see if Iraola can bring something out of him with the Spanish maybe connection. Maybe he can stay fit, and maybe he breaks through again. I'm reluctant to sell him. I think there's talent there, definitely. And I'm reluctant to put him in keep. So for me, that filters him into last chance. There's a lot of players on a last chance this season, isn't there, already? But that's where he goes, Bajcetic, for me. Divisive player. Let me know what you think in the comments. Right, an easy one here. Ryan Gravenberch is an easy keep. Bit of a down season last year after an amazing season the year before. But he wasn't awful last season, Gravenberch. He didn't come out of the season as bad as McAllister did. But he wasn't good. Absolutely wasn't good. I think he really struggled last year with where he was meant to stand, where he was meant to get the ball from, and then passing the ball forwards. That's what he struggles with. We need to see an improvement in that this season. And I'm hoping anyway, that under Iraola, that will be something that improves with him. There's a real focus on that under Iraola. So I am really hoping that that is something that he can work on. Move the ball forward into the number 10, the wingers, the strikers, get some assists. Last season he was playing like a really confusing, like box-to-box role after just having a world-class season as an out-and-out number 6. Now, Iraola doesn't really play with an out-and-out number 6, but I'd like to see him maybe hone some of those attributes that we saw, breaking up play, intercepting passes, making tackles. We didn't see much of that last season, but he's a clear keep, good player, lots of potential, very well liked. I think he's a clear keep. Okay, you might be looking at this fella going, who the blue shite is this guy? It's James McConnell, lads. James McConnell is next up on the list. You might still be saying, who? Who the hell is James McConnell? This is one of the lads who came on in the cup final against Chelsea when we beat them in extra time, and he played really well, and he's looked quite good in the cameos that he's made for Liverpool. Is he actually good? I don't really know. I really don't know. We'll see. But I think the only way that we find out is also by loaning him out. Now, he is a little bit on the older side compared to Nyoni and co, but he's got to go out on loan, hasn't he? Surely send him to the Championship. And at the very worst, he has a decent season in the Championship, and he's worth 15 million off the back of that, and we can cash in on it next year. At the very best, he has a great year, and we work out this lad can actually play. But he certainly isn't good enough to go in the keep category yet. And I don't think we'd sell him right now. So I think loan is probably the best for him. I've not got much else to say on him. I don't really know all that much about him because we haven't seen him too much. So there we go. That's a loan for James McConnell. And now Curtis Jones. This is an interesting one. There'll be a lot of people who are divided on him as well. Some people really hate Curtis Jones, and some people really love him at Liverpool. I don't necessarily love him, but I certainly think I'm on the side that rates him more than others. For me, he's a clear keep in this team. I'm keen to see how he gets on under Iraola. I don't know who took his photo, but they obviously didn't turn the lights on like we did for everybody else in this photo shoot. But he's a clear keep. I'm keen to see him in that formation, the 4-2-3-1. I think he could play really well as a part of that 2 in the middle, like I've said with McAllister. He's happy being a squad player. He's a scouser, and that matters, whether you like it or not. That matters in a Liverpool squad. We've always got to have someone who knows that value of the club, and he does. He's a good player. He's not a great player, maybe, but he's good enough to play lots of games in the Premier League and the Champions League and the Cups. I think he's a key player in this team in that role. Iraola can maybe get something more out of him. There's rumours we're happy to sell if Inter bid 40 million. Inter are not going to bid 40 million. They don't. The Italians, I don't know what they do with the transfers, but they think a couple pots of carbonara will do it for them. It won't. I do love carbonara, listen, but you can't have Curtis Jones for 10 million and a bowl of penne pasta. You can't do it. He's a keep for me. I'm keen to see him, and I'm not even keen on the putting him in last chance saloon. I think he's just a solid keep. I think we should give him a new deal. He's only got 1 year left on his deal. I think we should give him a new one. 3 or 4 years. I don't see a reason why not, to be honest. I think he's a keep. Right, Florian Wirtz is next. He's obviously a keep. Now, I'm as disappointed as everybody else that Florian Wirtz didn't have the season last season that I thought he was going to have, which was an otherworldly best player in the league type season. He certainly didn't quite adapt to the league as well as maybe we thought he might at first. Then he found some form, and then he sort of tailed off again towards the end of the season a little bit with a few inconsistent performances, but Liverpool were absolutely shit at the end of the season. I mean, like, properly dog poo. So, how much do you blame him versus how much do you blame Slot? I don't really know. It's a weird one because one of the things that he said when he signed was that Slot had convinced him of his role, but then he never had a role. He was playing on the left. He was number 10. He was on the right at times. He was never used as a false 9, which I thought he might be. He was part of double 10s occasionally. He was all over the gaff, and it just didn't really make a lot of sense. This season, he's got a clear position, I think, number 10. He plays there, and I think that'll suit him down to the ground. Forward passes, more speed of play, transitions. This should be all stuff that is music to his ears. Getting in the box, scoring goals. Can't wait to see him under Iraola. I'm back to being as excited as I was, maybe a little level below compared to how I was last season, because I was so excited last season. I had my undies on my head permanently all summer. He's a keep for me. That's an obvious one. Right. Dominic Szoboszlai is also a keep, and he's gone right under my camera, and I don't really know how to fix that for now. I don't want to hide myself, but just know Szoboszlai is a keep, everybody. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, really, watching this list. He's going to probably be vice captain. He was our player of the season last year. He's just signed a new 5-year deal. He's magnificent, and he does make me question whether I actually fancy men or not, because look at him. He's beautiful, isn't he? He really is. What an absolute hunk of junk this fella is, and in the best possible way. All jokes aside, fantastic player, and had a good season last year, and was the only player who really rose his level last season, I think, in the squad. Scored some worldy free kicks, got goal this season, became more of a leader in the team. I think this season he'll also suit those 2 number 8 positions, which are going to be hotly contested between Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Jones for me. I think my pairing on the first day of the season would be Gravenberch and Szoboszlai. That's what I'd go with. Gravenberch is more defensive. Szoboszlai is the more free-roaming, like Alex Scott type role for Bournemouth, as we saw last season. But Szoboszlai is like way fucking better than Alex Scott. He's had a full rest in summer, no World Cup. Back at pre-season, day 1. Love to see it. I'm really excited to see him kick on. He's a clear keep. Harvey Elliott is next. Had the weirdest season ever last year. at Villa after being loaned out in a stupid transfer by us, where we had this weird, if he plays 10 games, Villa have to buy him for 35 million deal. What the hell was all that about? He ended up not playing because Villa couldn't afford to pay it, and so he was just rotting away on the reserves at Villa. It's a real shame for him, but I'd like to see him get a chance at Liverpool under Iraola. So for me, he goes in last chance saloon. This is the exact definition of a last chance saloon player, Harvey Elliott. What will he do this year? Will he have a place at Liverpool as a number 10, as a right winger? I think he's a useful option. He's English, so we can keep him without any worry about that. He's going to be absolutely loved by the fans this year after that tough situation he had last season. He's a clear last chance player. If he has a good year, keep him, let him kick on. If not, we cut our losses. He's got 1 year left on his deal, and he goes probably for a free, which would be a massive shame. But he's a last chance player. Whether we'll keep him or not, I honestly don't know. We might move him on. Who knows? I'm keen to see him get a chance under Iraola, to be honest. So let's see. Let's see how it goes. Next up is Federico Chiesa, who is touching that badge, but he's actually missed it, hasn't he? Because he misses everything. And his Liverpool career has been a big miss so far, to be honest. The best moment of last season was Chiesa's winner against Bournemouth. We peaked on day one. That was the best moment of the season. And then from there, it was just pure downhill. He had a little purple patch where he was scoring goals off the bench, and you thought, oh, maybe he could be something. But he just isn't. He's not very good. I think we all like Chiesa, but he isn't that good at football anymore. And I don't think he deserves a last chance. I think he's had his last chance. Yes, his chant was amazing, and now everyone's got one. But I don't think he's good enough for Liverpool. So for me, he goes in sell. I would sell him back to Italy this season, free up that homegrown spot, free up the wages, and move on. And that's saying something, considering our winger situation. I think he has to be sold this summer. I don't think there's anything else to say, really. Right. Next up is Vicky M. Victor Munoz, who you might be, again, saying, who the hell is this guy? As I was when we signed him about a month ago now. I've never heard of this fella before we signed him. I've familiarised myself, and he looks like he's going to be really, really useful for us this season. He can play left side and right side just as comfy. He's more of a left winger, which is interesting because we've got left wingers. I'm hoping that he's used on the right and he performs well, because we need right wingers desperately. But either way, he's versatile and he's dead fast. Obviously, now a World Cup winner. Liverpool's 6th ever World Cup winning player. Now, he's never played a minute for Liverpool, and he didn't play a minute for Spain, but he still qualifies for the stat. So he was there in the squad. You saw him last night. He wasn't a fan of Trump at all. That was great to see. And then he was having a right laugh with the trophy. So really looks like a good character from that brief bit of footage of him. But Vicky M, this is obviously a keep, and this should drop him onto the second line of keep. In fact, let's put him there, and then you can see Szoboszlai's beautiful face right there. That makes more sense to me, to hide Vicky M, because he's an obvious keep. We don't know much about him, to be honest. Let's see what he's all about this season. We do have to scroll now down the list to get Josh Abe, who's next. Again, you might be saying, who is this guy? Well, he's a 16-year-old. We've just agreed to a contract to keep him, which was huge to keep him, by the way, because this fella has like Rio and Ngumoha level potential, where you're thinking Max Dowman level potential. He could really, really be special, Josh Abe, by all accounts. And that, for me, keeping him was a huge, huge coup this summer. He was wanted by Real Madrid, Barcelona, amongst all the other big clubs in England, Man City, Arsenal. Everybody wanted him, but we've kept hold of him, and that's huge. I would like to see him go out on loan. He's only 16, so you might say maybe give him a year in the academy. I think he's capable. He's physically big already, and I think sending him out on loan could be really, really, really beneficial. I'm not sure about the Championship. Maybe it's League One, maybe it's abroad, I don't know. But I think he could really tear it up. Have a good year of men's football, proper, not academy football, men's football. Get that physicality even more. Get the stamina, the endurance level up, which is something a young player can struggle with. See how he does. Now, I wouldn't be against the club keeping hold of him and maybe playing him in the academy for one more year, but we'll see. He's training with the first team, so they clearly have big plans for this fella at 16, and he's only just turned 16 as well. That's Josh Abe. Right, Cody Gakpo. He's another divisive player. Obviously had a really tough season last season. I mean, he was really, really poor. And he got a lot of criticism from me as well last season. I won't rule myself out of that as being like Arne Slot's favourite. Well, Arne Slot's gone now. But I still think we should keep Cody Gakpo. I don't think we should sell him. That's my opinion. I don't think we should sell Cody Gakpo. Now, is he a keep or is he a last chance saloon? I think he's a last chance saloon type player. I think we've got to keep him this season purely because we've got too many players that we need to buy. We need to buy right wingers. We need to buy probably a midfielder, a centre back, a left back, a right back maybe. Maybe we get a reserve striker. Who knows? I don't think we will. I don't think we need to, but maybe we do. I don't think we need to be looking at left wing. We've got 2 left wingers, 3 if you include Munoz. I think it makes sense to keep Gakpo and use him to help break Rio through. Rio can't play every week, but by the end of this season, I think Rio will be our starting left winger because he is that good, and he's next on this list as well. But having Gakpo is very useful. He's a useful player. We can maybe get some money for him, sure, but I think it's doing too much in the market, replacing too much too often. We've seen Gakpo have good moments in the Liverpool shirt. Last season was really poor, but it was poor for everybody. I think give him one more year, see how he gets on, and then if he's poor again, then we sell him, cut our losses, sure. But for now, give him one more year. Rio is an obvious keep. This one is pretty obvious. Don't really need to spend much time on this. He's going to be a fucking star. He's already been touted as England's saviour at the next tournaments. He's ace. He's so good. Had a bit of a breakthrough towards the end of last season in the first team. Scored some goals. Had a brilliant season. The goal at Newcastle was amazing. The goal against, was it Fulham, was amazing as well. An absolute star. Can't wait to watch him this season. I do think by the end of the year he'll be our starting left winger. And I'm excited to see it. It looks like he's put on more muscle already. Back at pre-season. Want to see his fitness improve so he can last 90 minutes more often. Yeah, fantastic. Not really got much else to say on him. Right, Jayden Danns is next on the list. Put him in because he's an academy player who's getting a little bit up there in age and there's a lot of potential towards him. Within him, but hasn't realised it again because of lots and lots of injuries. He's not a sell. He's a last chance or he's a loan for me. I would like to see him go out on loan, I think. But this time, actually a loan where he plays every week. I think he's got to. This is really it for him now. And you might say, well, why is he not in last chance? Because I think if Liverpool kept him, he's not going to play. He's too old for me now to be playing in the academy. We've already seen he can tear it up there. I'd like to see him in the Championship, as well as Nyoni, and maybe McConnell as well. Send him out to a club looking for promotion. There'll be loads clamouring for him. A full season, stay fit, score some goals, come back. Can you be a Liverpool player? I hope you can. I think you can. You just got to stay fit, Jayden. So for me, he's a loan as well. And we're nearly there. We've got 2 left. And they're both keeps. I think it's pretty obvious. Alexander Isak is a keep. Let's talk about him first. Again, weird season last season. We signed him after the season had actually started. He'd been on strike and had absolutely 0 pre-season. So he came to Liverpool in absolutely no level of fitness whatsoever. We then spent months getting him fit because we weren't training, as we've learned. And it took him ages to get up to speed. He was getting injuries, and then he finally got fit, scored a few goals, including the one against Tottenham, where Mickey van der Ven broke his leg. Great. So then he went away again. Now he got himself back fit towards the end of the season, where he played, and he scored his first goal at Anfield, but other than that, he didn't really do a whole lot. Now, our striker situation last year was appalling, with them not being able to ever touch the ball, and he was one of them. He never touched the ball last season, and it was a really poor showing when he was there, but he wasn't fit. The system was awful, and his circumstances were just weird. He had a great World Cup for Sweden by Sweden's expectations, and so I am very, very keen to see how he gets on for us this season. He is a world-class striker. He is. I've seen it. There's no debate in my eyes. So this season, he's going to start the year as the clear first choice because Ekitike is injured for months. So that's going to give him a clear run of games with a clear position and a clear way to get him the ball. Let's see how he gets on. He's having a full pre-season. He's had a World Cup to get up to speed. I'm really keen to see the best of him this year, which I think we will. So he's a clear keep. And then Hugo Ekitike, modelling the kit beautifully there. Did you see him at Wimbledon the other day? Oh my God. He looked dapper, is the only word I can use, in his all-white suit and his cane and his glasses. Unbelievable. He is rehabbing from his Achilles injury. That's a really tough injury to come back from, by the way, for a footballer. But he's a keep, obviously. We'll see him 6 months into the season, more than likely the new year. But when we do, I can't wait to see him. He was one who came out of the season last year with a good reputation. Had a good season, was clearly our best signing last year. And excited to see him kick on. The question of what will we do when they're both fit, him and Isak, is still there. But that's not for me to answer. That's for Andoni Iraola now to answer. And not a bad problem to have. Both top strikers. So we'll see. Let's keep them both this year and see how they get on. And that brings us to the end of the tier list. You can see everybody there apart from Munoz, who's behind me. But that's how I've got it. Sell 2 players. Last chance saloon. I wouldn't be against moving Tsimikas down here at all. But that's where I've got him for now. I think we will see some more sales. Whether that's Elliott, Tsimikas, Bajcetic. You know, maybe McAllister, push. But I wouldn't be surprised to see anyone else who's not in this section get sold. Let's see. This is the tier list. And I hope you enjoyed making it with me. Let me know in the comments whether you agree or disagree down below. Alright guys, that is going to do it for today's video, and I really do hope that you did enjoy it. A long one for sure, but one that I think hopefully was enjoyable for you all, going through every player. And if you did enjoy, leave a like on the video. What should our target be this season? Should we start saying 40 likes on every video? We were doing 35 for a while. We've hit 500 subscribers. Let's target 40 likes on every video from now on. If you did enjoy it, please do leave a like, comment away your thoughts as well. Thank you so much for helping me get to 500 subscribers, guys. If you are new and you've watched this video, please do click subscribe. There's going to be plenty more preseason content. We're going to do watch-alongs, ratings, all that good stuff for the preseason games coming up as well. So talk about transfers soon as well. Lots to come on the channel in the summer period. It's good to be back talking about Liverpool. Like, subscribe. Podcast listeners, thank you as well for listening as well. Share the show. You guys know what to do. 5-star rating and reviews. That's going to do it today, guys. I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you very soon. Goodbye.